Okay. Let's see. And right, that's full. That's good. There we go. Full screen. Nice. All right. So, for yesterday's audio, I noticed immediately after I finished the stream, I gave it a listen and noticed that the audio was terrible. It was super choppy. I had the gain way too low. Normally I have it high, but I was audio testing with my mic going into the Xbox One controller, and the gain needed to be set lower for that because the higher gain levels was just overpowering the audio when streaming through the Xbox, and that was just, it was bad. So anywho, that I forgot to change it, so all the additional filters and effects were just, it was bad times, bad juju. So hopefully the audio should be back to normal now with the higher gain settings, and today's audio should be a lot better. We are on to day 4 out of a year of streaming. We only need to do this roughly 100 more times. No, 300? 3 days times 100. Yeah, 300 plus, around there. That's not too bad. Okay, where did we leave off? We left off... Does resume work? That's so weird. The first time resume brought us into the lesson. Anyways, continuing on. External sources. We should check that stuff out. Basic structure, CSS, and syntax. Go time. All right. 9 parts shouldn't be too bad. Learn. You've learned how to separate HTML and CSS into 2 files and link them together, but you haven't learned how CSS syntax is used to style elements on a web page. In this lesson, you'll learn the basic structure and syntax of CSS so that you can start styling web page elements. Let's begin. Instructions. Take a look at the code in style.css. You may not understand it right now, but after this lesson, you'll know how CSS syntax works. Later in the course, you'll learn even more about the details of CSS. Explore the code in this file and try modifying something at random. What happens? All right, we've got the style and the index. So let's take a look. Of course, the mic is blocking my face and the webcam is blocking my screen. The processed web page section, this area, super blocked by the webcam. Anyways, where are we looking? So I get to modify any of this. Let's change main height to 800. And we'll change this to 250. We'll change that to 16. We'll change this to 60. We're touching everything. Font size. We'll do 28. Do 450. And yeah, good. So that's all of this fun stuff. Nice. Looking good. Tons of fun. And run. Ta-da. Slight differences. That's nice. That works. Kind of odd, but whatever. Hopefully I didn't destroy it. On to section 2. Okay. We've discussed styling HTML elements using CSS. But how is it actually done? To style an HTML element using CSS, you must first select that element in the CSS file. For example, to style a paragraph element, the syntax to select it using CSS is P and then the brackets. Awesome. In the example above, all paragraph elements are selected using a CSS selector. The selector in this case is P. Note that the CSS selector essentially matches the HTML tag for that element, but without the angle brackets. Note, the P selector in the example above will select all P elements on the web page. Later in this course, you'll learn how to use more specific CSS selectors so that you can select any element you want. Instructions in style.css. Add a selector for the h1 element. Note, the content of the web page updates because we've already linked index.html and style CSS for you. Cool. So that's index. There's h1. We'll be modifying the brown bear style. We will do h1. Our lovely. Look at that. And when you do the first bracket, it does the second one. Look at that. They're so kind. Cool. Run it. Green check marks for everybody. Woohoo! Yeah. Section 3. Good. It's not enough to simply select an HTML element in a CSS file. To actually style the element, you'll need to specify 2 things inside the body of the selector. 1. Property. The property you'd like to style of that element, i.e. size, color, etc. 2. Value. The value of the property, i.e. 18 pixels for size, blue for color, etc. h1, color, blue. In the example above, the h1 element has been selected inside of the selector's body. The heading's color property is set to the value of blue. The heading will now appear the color blue in the browser. The line color, colon, blue, semicolon, is referred to CSS declaration. A CSS declaration consists of a property and a value. Note that a semicolon ends all declarations. Semicolon. Okay. Finally, the entire snippet of code in the example above is known as a CSS rule. A CSS rule consists of the selector and all declarations inside of the selector. Nice. So that's that. We've got the selector, h1, opening curly brace. That's what it is, an opening curly brace. Then we've got the property, font size, so what we're addressing, colon. Then we've got the value, in this case, 42 pixels, semicolon, right? The camera's perfectly blocking that. Yep, semicolon. And then closing curly brace. Next. Okay. 4 out of 9. We are almost halfway there. Now that you are familiar with the basics of CSS syntax, let's style some of the elements on the web page. Cool. Instructions. Uno. In style.css, change the color of the heading to fire brick. Oh yeah, I'm about to hella change this. So change, we won't even know what we're looking at. Color, colon, fire brick, semicolon, run it. Aha, nice. Okay, 2. Add another selector that changes the font size of the paragraph to 18 pixels. Note, all HTML elements have unique properties that can be styled using a variety of values. The purpose of this lesson is to become familiar with CSS syntax. Later in the course, we'll explore specific properties and values for HTML elements. And I wonder if they want it inside, you know, like that. Let's do font size, or if I'm supposed to do a different curly bracket. I think it's probably all in one because I'm just affecting the H1 heading. We should be fine. We'll be fine. We're overthinking it. Font size. We're still early on. We're meant to suck. Uh, 18, right, PX. And semicolon. Schmacklin. I don't know if there's a space. I like seeing the space. Maybe that's just a visual thing for me. Run it. Yes! Okay, just kidding. Just kidding. Hold on, what if I do? No. No, that's dumb. Add another selector. Cut. And now we get to see someone fail. This seems bad. And why can't I have it all in the same H1 area? Traditionally, this seems bad. Like, I know that'll work, but I think it looks dumb. Oh, of the paragraph. Gotcha. Aha. It's of the paragraph. There we go. All these bolded things. That's all fun and well, but because of the paragraph. Shiny colors, that's my fault. Not committed to the game. 40 lashes for Steven. Paragraph. Run. Boom. Double green check marks. 2 dragons. Love it. Section 5. Okay. Styling with CSS would be very inefficient if you were forced to manually style the same property across many elements. For example, what if you wanted to change the color of 10 different elements to aquamarine in CSS? Fortunately, you can select multiple elements at once, so you can save time styling a shared property. Cool. Okay, H1, H2, P, nice. Very clever. In the example above, the H1 heading, the H2 heading, and the paragraph have all been styled to appear green using a multiple element selector. A multiple element selector can save you time when you want to style the same property across many elements. Instructions. 1. Use one selector to change the color of the heading and paragraph to dark slate gray. Nice. So, H1, comma, P is now going to be dark slate. Ugh. Cool. Kosher. Fire away. Boom. Hashtag green check. Nice. Dark slate for life. Section 6. Which is ain't hoser. Good. Nice. There's a special selector that can instantly select every single element on the web page. The Universal Selector. Aha, which is the asterisk. Nice. Good. Okay, so that makes sense why we saw the asterisk earlier. Font family Arial. Let's see. Font family Arial. In the example above, the Universal Selector asterisk is used to select every element on the page and set the font to Arial. What makes the Universal Selector so special? When all elements on a web page require the same styling, it's often more efficient to set that styling using the Universal Selector. Afterwards, you can modify or remove that styling for specific elements that don't require it. In a later lesson, you'll use the Universal Selector to help you understand how HTML elements are laid out within the browser and how to position those elements. Okay. Instructions. 1. In style.css, add the Universal Selector. Inside of the selector's body, set the font family to Georgia. Alright, let's see. We are going to, in style, add the Universal Selector inside of the selector's body. And set the font family to Georgia. Whoa, 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 whoa. I feel like I should have it at the top. Asterisk. Let's do Georgia. Font family. Font family. Colon. Georgia. Georgia. If this works, Ray Charles would be proud. Run. Ta-da! Green check, good enough. Next. Okay. So. Just a second. Hold on. Alright. Crisis averted. Okay. Where'd we leave off? 7 of 9. Okay. Just like HTML, CSS follows certain best practices for spacing and indentation. H1, color, blue. Hey, little cat. Look at you. I didn't even know you were down there. Nice, nice. Okay. H1, color, blue. Paragraph, color, red. One space should be used between the selector and the opening curly brace. Nice. No extra spaces should exist between the opening and closing curly braces. And CSS declaration is in the example above. No extra space should exist between opening and closing curly braces. Okay, opening and closing, no space. And the CSS declaration as an, okay, they're talking about the vertical lines, not horizontal spacing. Good, gotcha. Because on line 1, it's the opening, line 2, it's the declaration, and then line 3 is the closing. Gotcha, no spaces. Okay. 3, 2 spaces of indentation should be used for the CSS declaration. 4, 1 line of spacing should exist between CSS rules. In the example above, there's 1 line of spacing between the CSS rule for the heading and the CSS rule for the paragraph. CSS files can become lengthy as styling is added to a web page. Proper spacing and indentation helps keep CSS code maintainable and readable for you and other developers. Instructions. Take a look at the code in style.css. Do you notice any code that is improperly indented? If so, fix the code to follow best practices for CSS spacing and indentation. Otherwise, continue to the next exercise. Cool. Spacing issues we may encounter. Yeah, mine looks like ass. That looked dumb. Actually, I think that's about it. That is it. Although I would like to have the universal one up top, but that's just me. We're going to leave it at the bottom for now. Run it. Same thing. No checkbox is needed. On to section 8. Okay. Just like the HTML, you can also leave comments in your CSS file. CSS comments begin with /* and end with */ like so. This is a comment in CSS. Nice. Including comments in your code is helpful for many reasons. 1, they help you and others understand your code if you decide to come back and review it at a much later date. 2, they allow you to experiment with new code without having to delete old code. Paragraph styling, nice. Example above, comment is used to specify CSS styling for paragraphs. That's just all commented out for the color. Very cool. In the example above, a valid CSS rule has been commented out. This practice is useful when you want to experiment with new code without having to delete old code. Instructions. Add a comment in the style.css. The comment can say anything you'd like. Okay, so this is the earth. I don't think we're actually going to say that, but that's just how I'm feeling. Commenting in secret. via CSS. Nice. Is that a statement? Yeah. We'll leave it out in the open. Very nice. Very nice. Ah, lovely green check marks. Telling you, if I had a nickel for every green check mark, I don't know, I'd probably have like a $2.45 or something like that. I wouldn't have that much, but I'd have a small pile of nickels. Next. Okay, 9 of 9. Welcome to the Thunderdome, ladies and gentlemen. Great work. You've learned the basics of CSS structure and syntax. We'll continue to build on these basics as you learn more about CSS. Let's review what you've learned so far. 1. A CSS selector targets an HTML element. 2. CSS declarations style HTML elements. Declarations must contain the following 2 things. Property, the property you want to style. Value, the value for the property you are styling. 3. CSS declarations must end in a semicolon. 4. A CSS rule consists of a CSS selector and the declaration inside of the selector. 5. Multiple element selectors can be used to style multiple elements at once. 6. Comments keep code easy to read and allow you to experiment with new code without having to remove old code. 7. CSS follows certain best practices for spacing and indentation. 1 line of spacing between a selector and the opening curly brace. No spacing between CSS declaration and the opening and closing curly braces of the CSS rule. Honestly, I believe it should say no line spacing, but that's just me. Yeah, because this is 1 line of spacing between 1 line of spacing between a selector. See, that should be 1 space, and this should be no lines of spacing. Dear God, their inbox is going to be full of bug reports. I really should start chipping away at that. Maybe after a week. I don't know. Let's get some more time under our belt before we start. Is it criticizing isn't bad. Constructive criticism, right? It's positive. It's for the best moving forward. Anyways, no line spacing between no spacing between CSS declarations and the opening and closing curly braces of the CSS rule. 2 spaces of indentation for CSS declaration. 1 line of spacing between CSS rules. Cool. Instructions. If you're up for it, take some time to experiment with your new CSS syntax knowledge in style.css. We've cleared your previous CSS rule to give you a fresh start. You'll also note that index.html and style.css have already been linked for you. When you're done experimenting, you can proceed to the next unit. Boom. Universal. Let's make life simple. Drop them in. Okay. Color. Navy blue? Is that a thing? I can't quite tell if that worked or not. Let's try blue. Okay, that really worked. Dark blue? Cool. Dark blue. Nice. H1 will be... I just don't know what to change it to. Like, I know how to change it, but I just don't know what I want to change it to. Font size 24 pixels? That's a lot smaller. I didn't realize 24 pixels was so small. That must have been like 48 before? What was it before? 48? Is that way too big now? That is gigantic. That was probably like somewhere in the 30s, but we're gonna set it to 28. And pretend that that's just right. Nice. Paragraph. Font style. Eeh. We're going out on a limb here. I should probably Google what to do. Italic? God, this is not gonna end well. No. Plural. Also bad. Ah, maybe that's because style wasn't an actual word. It was just style, no T. Aha! Look at that. Look at that. So damn clever. Okay, okay, let's not get ahead of ourselves. So H2 should be bold? Let's see if there's an H2. H2. Font style. Bold. Actually, I just, well, yeah, that'll be fine. There's no H2. There's no H2. Okay, okay, that's fine. That's fine. Those are the lists. We should do lists. Li. Watch this, guys. Watch this. Ooh, I wonder if it needs to be... Yeah, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. Run it. No. So, ordered list and unordered list. Right? Right? Death. P. X. What's wrong? Telling me something. There's an issue. Ordered lists. You know what? Let's take a look. Ordered list and unordered list. Maybe not something that can be easily altered? On death. How would I make that bold? CSS how to make list bold. Oh, font weight? Is that the difference? I guess there's a difference between style and bold? I don't know. We'll try font weight. Font weight. Aha! Look at that. Okay, so it's just the terminology. Cool. There we go. So, and we want unordered lists as well. Nice. Although, oh, but because we did just list, I think breaking it up, see, look, I think having both, oh god. See, this is a hammer to kill a gnat because it's just changing all list elements to bold, which isn't exactly what we want. Versus here, it's specifying, I mean, it certainly gets the job done if that's what you're looking for, but ordered lists versus unordered lists, that'll break it up. That's a bit more specific. Run. And we get that. Or we can also do this. We can blend them. Unordered lists. Run it. Look at that. See? There's this, and now here's the issue when we go to list. List. Run. I mean, it's the same thing, but it's just, see, it's more specific. What if you didn't want list? What if you didn't want the bottom stuff, the ordered list bolded, right? Or italics? You would have it as simply ordered list. Look at that. We are learning. Not your average bear anymore. Well, no, we're still the average bear, but we're learning the basics of CSS. So, you know, we've at least got that on the other bears, which is nice. Awesome. Well, I think that's about it for now, and we are going to do unordered list. Because we can. Run it. Boom. How you like that? Hashtag bear life. Alright. Let's end this party. You run it, we're good, we're golden. Up next, what's up next? Colors. Learn how to utilize the expansive support that CSS offers for colors. Start lesson. Boom. In the last unit, you learn about the basics of CSS, including blah. Great. Let's see what it loads. Tons of fun, some coffee stuff. Ethiopia, love Ethiopia. Great, good. And back to Codecademy. Nice. 28%. Where do we stand today? 40 points. Into house. 40 points for 4 days. Just doing one activity at a time so far. I'm sure we'll do days in the near future where we just power through a bunch of activities, but so far we're just doing one section at a time. And yeah, 8 badges deep. How you like that? Way cool. Alright guys and gals and anyone in between, bears even, that is it for today's stream. Why is that so ominous? Ah, full screen, right. Back out of that. Okay, that's it. Till tomorrow. We will continue on with day 5. I'm out.